What's up, interns? If we've not met, I met some of you last night at the prayer night at Perrysburg. Some of you again, but Lauren's down here.
Hey, guys.
And she asked me to give you a couple thoughts on journaling. So for some of you, this is really going to nerd out, okay? So I'm just warning you in advance. When I was in middle school, I had a leader in my life who encouraged me to journal. And the primary purpose was I saw him do it all the time, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just journaling stuff, life, kind of things that he's learning, prayers, some of that stuff. I was involved in a youth group in my middle school and early high school years. And so I just started because I wanted to emulate him. And as I got into college, they wanted journals for different classes, like journal your first year experience at school. And so I just kept doing what I had kind of been taught to do, if you will. And so here I am, over 20 years later, and I'm on number 62. This is 62. So if you look down here, right at the bottom, you can see my stack of moleskins. Now, what happened is, as time went on, I realized that I wanted to go back and read like different seasons of my life. And I noticed early on, I didn't date anything. I just put stuff in there. And so I created, this is what you want, right?
Perfect.
My whole number system?
Sure.
Okay, I created a number system so that I could look at it and find what I needed to find as easily as possible. So instead of dating every entry, I number every entry. So an entry could be 1 page, it could be 7 pages, whatever that is. So like the Leadership Summit will actually be number 6. The Leadership Summit will be in number 63, and the Leadership Summit will be a single entry. I might do Leadership Summit Day 1 as an entry, Leadership Summit Day 2 as an entry. And the reason I share that with you is if you just do dates or you try to do page numbers, it was too difficult for me to keep track. It was easier to do entries because at the front of my journal, I have my entry number, the date, and whatever topic it is, and I list it all out as I go so that I have one place to look to know what it is that I'm trying to search for. The other thing that I stopped doing along the way is I stopped taking notes in conference notebooks, because then you have like your journal, then you have a conference notebook and you lose a conference notebook, or you have like a prayer journal and then like a leadership journal. No, I just use my journal for everything. Even when I'm scratching out random ideas or drawing or doodling, I'll let my kids draw in my journal. I put it in one place so that I always know where to find it. And I don't have like all 3 of these journals around or floating, you know what I mean? Then you have like a half-finished journal and you're like, oh, I gave up on that. You just have one thing that you need to carry with you wherever you go. Now, you can do this digitally. I tried it digitally for a season and it just wasn't the same as writing down stuff. So that's the overall structure, and I can get you more details, or Lauren can if you have questions. Here's what to put in there: your thoughts, your prayers, your frustrations, your excitement, your stories, your random ideas. Don't fill it as if it has to be something profound. Instead, see it as practical space where you are honest with God about what it is that you're doing. You're working out a talk that you feel like you're being invited to give. You're trying to frame out a strategy to a solution. You're writing down a great experience that just happened in your life or whatever. And what's amazing is when you go back and you relive these moments, you can look for them. You can go, man, you begin to see recurring patterns in your life. I started to notice that in certain seasons, I seem to struggle mentally and emotionally more, especially February through March, like end of January through the beginning of March. And so then you begin to see those trends and consistent prayers, like you're praying the same thing over and over again. You're like, man, I wrote this down like 2 days ago. It helps you see things that you need to change moving forward. Other things that I do inside of my journal every year, at the end of the year, I do a highlights list. So I go back and I kind of flip through the journal and I write down all of the highlights. Do I have one in here? I may have one in here, maybe not. I do not have one in here. You do all the highlights from the past year, and that just gives you one place to look at all the meaningful moments. And then I even nerd out even more. I put like a dashboard with like, where am I at financially? And some of those things, like how many books did I read? How many miles did I run? Some of that stuff there as well. But the reason I pick nicer, more expensive journals is because you're going to be using it and taking with you all the time. You're going to want the binding to last. And then I actually like the little pockets in the back. And then what I put in the pockets are, you know, little notes or trips that I take. If you know, like I know I told you I'm nerding out, like cards. Like here's a card right here, handwritten note. And it was really meaningful. I was with a family when they were dealing with a hard time, and some of the notes or phrases that she used in there was really encouraging. I've got these little things in here. This is a scavenger hunt that Lydia took me on. The kids took me on for my birthday. So I keep all of that in the little pocket, and then I go through about 3 or 4 of these a year. Did I miss anything?
Last thing, talk about the binding, the edge, where you write on the pages on the edge, the date, the number, that sort of thing. Because you don't date your pages, but you do date.
I date. So on the front page, entry number, you put the date next to that of that entry, and then you put the topic. So, so then what I did is on the binding, this is number, might be backwards, 57. This is the first month of January 2018 to the 5th month of 2018. So it just gives me like, I think that happened here. And so for recall, I go in here and I look at my opening thing and I can kind of work through that. I think this is so this will have a highlights in it so it doesn't have to be neat. I mean, I skipped pages. I skipped a lot of pages at the end of that one. That's amazing. So a highlights list. And it's just a couple of pages, my little dashboard here, you know, so all of that. My goals for the year. So I know, I told you, I nerded out. What else? Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, there you go. Enjoy, have fun. Now, you don't need to get it all done today. This is something that you can do for the rest of your life. What's fun for me is I can go back and read some journal entries about when before Lauren and I were even dating. And so you're at a stage in life where you can start to write about things. I laugh because some of the things that I was stressed out about when I was in my 20s, I now have perspective on. I used to think I was so busy and so stressed and had so much going on. And now I can look back and go, God in his grace just chuckled and said, oh, wait till you have kids, or wait till you're leading a church. And what you see is he grows your capacity in those seasons. So anyway, I'm excited for the journey that you're going to begin right now.